All right, joining us for another edition of Bench Talk. Now, this guy we've been friends with for a while. We've had him on for a couple of episodes, going back to another podcast we did. He's been on this podcast or Facebook Live, whatever you want to call it. But we like this guy. We love talking to him. Freddie Coleman of ESPN Radio, just newly extended, which we congratulate him on, which is great. He's part of Freddie and Fitzsimmons, 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio nationally around the country. Freddie, thanks for coming back and joining us.
My pleasure, gentlemen. How's everybody doing this evening?
Pretty good, pretty good.
All things
not just,
yeah.
Not just congratulations on the extension, congratulations on becoming the first member of the 3-time guest club on this show.
Hey, you know, that's a Hall of Fame category for me, so I'll definitely take that moniker and run with it. So I'm honored by that. Thank you, guys.
Awesome.
We're gonna need to create some kind of buttons or T-shirts we can give away.
Hey, merch is always good, so I'm never opposed to the merch when it comes to helping me and helping you guys out. So let's get on that sooner than later.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
So let's get underway here. So what do you make of MLB's more overt gestures during the social justice movement, and just what do you make of the social justice movement in general going on in sports?
Well, it's definitely a sign of the times, and I think for the longest time, people wanted to know exactly what leagues were going to say or do about issues, because more than ever before, guys, that line is going to be blurred between sports and social issues, and athletes are no longer just going to sit on their hands or close their mouths when they believe and they know they have a platform to speak out on that. So I was not surprised to see that from Major League Baseball or anybody else when it comes to social justice issues. And I know that it's going to continue for more than a little bit. I'm completely okay with that. And that's something that's going to have to be part of the sports DNA, no matter what sport it is, for more than a little bit. And I'm sure there are going to be some fans that are going to be turned off by that. And hey, that is their right to feel that way. I'm not going to say that they're right. I'm not going to say that they're wrong. But I don't think this is going to be the kind of thing that's going to be a fly-by-night thing. It's going to continue for more than a little bit. But the question is, outside of what we've been able to see, what kind of other actions are you going to do as a league? It's one thing to have lip service and talk about we need to do better, we're going to do better. But what are you going to do about that if you're Major League Baseball, if you're the National Football League, if you're football coaches in college, and definitely other sports as well? I want to see going forward exactly what's going to manifest itself with when it's no longer the sign of the times with social justice and those things being talked about in professional sports and even in college sports.
So, Freddie, news broke last night that the Yankees are going to, well, it's rumored that President Trump is actually going to throw out the first pitch on a Yankees-Red Sox game in Yankee Stadium on August 15th. And rumors are that Randy Levine was behind it. Do you think that this hurts their statements and actions for social justice, like someone like Aaron Judge, Aaron Hicks, Gary Sanchez would state? Are the players and coaches, do you think they might have a problem with this?
Well, whatever problem is going to happen as an organization, you're going to have to deal with it if you're the New York Yankees. And I don't foresee that that's going to be a problem, because one of the best things about being a proud American citizen is that you have that platform, you have that freedom of speech, you have that freedom of expression. So it doesn't matter who is out there throwing the first pitch. It doesn't matter how they feel about what's going on in sports. The way they're allowed to express themselves in objection to it or in disapproval of it, that doesn't mean that you should stop doing it just because somebody is out there that has made it very, very plain that if somebody is kneeling, that's going to be it for him. Although it's kind of contradictory, don't you think? Because he's going to throw the first pitch at Yankee Stadium on August 15th, and the Yankees and Nationals knelt before the national anthem happened in last night's game. So if anything, that storyline is going to be very interesting, that somebody may throw that at him and say, well, wait a minute, you said that sports were done for you if people were kneeling with the national anthem, and the Yankees did it, but you're going to throw out the first pitch because of your friendship with Randy Levine, who's in charge of the Yankees from a presidential standpoint.
And actually, Freddie, that's a perfect transition into the question that I have. And that I was talking with these guys a little bit last night, and I had said, this is going to remind me the political atmosphere and everything going on, social atmosphere in the sports world right now. It's going to remind me a lot of the 2017 NFL season. The only thing I say that might be different with that is I'm not sure if people will be as quick to abandon as quickly with sports, because we went sportsless for so long with this pandemic. Would you agree on both ends?
Yeah, I completely agree with that, because think about this. 2020 is definitely a lot different than 2017 because there seems to be more of a united situation. And even if players don't agree with kneeling, if players don't agree with what guys are doing, that doesn't mean they're going to voice their objection to the point that they're going to cause a distraction. They're going to say, that's the way you feel, but this is the way I feel. So that's why the climate is so much different than 2017. Back then, it was a kind of us over here and athletes over there. That doesn't seem to be the case. And that doesn't mean that it's 100% the other way in favor of athletes, but it seems that a lot of athletes speaking up and speaking out, they've been able to gather a lot more people on their side. Even if they oppose it, they're no longer having that complete disapproval that we saw that was prevalent when it was definitely adversarial, where it was people who did not want kneeling for the national anthem on one side, and everybody was made to be a pariah on the other side. I don't think that's still prevalent, but I don't think it's as much as we saw back in 2017.
Cap started that. And, well, Freddie, I do need to ask, what do you make of the last-minute decision to expand the 2020 MLB postseason to 16 teams? Literally, I think they did it as the game was going on last night. How are they going to manage to finish in October as the league wants and, more importantly, the TV networks want?
Well, put it this way. If you're Major League Baseball, there's nothing off the table. I mean, I know it has the feel of the SEC baseball tournament in Hoover, Alabama, as if it's going to be pool play when it comes to the Major League Baseball playoffs expanding to 16 teams. But when you've had a crisis confidence, when you had a public relations confidence or lack thereof when it comes to the fans or the younger fans not paying attention to your sport, everything should be on the table when it comes to Major League Baseball. Now, granted, you need a degree from Harvard or Stanford to understand why they decided to do it this way and have the kind of brackets out there. But expanding it to 16 teams, I did not have a problem with that at all. If you're Major League Baseball, anything that you can do to generate any kind of heat, to generate any kind of attention, especially from younger fans, I'm completely in with. It feels like it's an NCAA baseball super regional, but if you're Major League Baseball, I did not have a problem expanding to 16 teams, and I don't have a problem with the bracket and the format. It got people discussing exactly how they're going to make this work. And if you're Major League Baseball, it's better to have some attention than zero attention at all when you're trying to put these things in place, and you're going to put these things in place.
So, Freddie, how do you feel so far about the new fanless stadiums? And we're seeing owners cry foul. I heard you talking about this on your radio show, actually. Owners are playing wham, 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 woe is me, right?
You know what? If you're an owner, you should not be complaining about anything when you got your sport back into the consciousness when it seemed like that was not going to be the case about a month and a half ago, where people were wondering, were we going to see Major League Baseball in 2020? So anytime an owner gets into their skies falling routine, I completely ignore them, because as long as they can find a way to help their bottom line, they're going to make that work. Remember, these were the same owners, or at least some of the owners were saying it's financially beneficial to us if we don't have a Major League Baseball season. Then the minute that was going to happen, people in the Dodgers organization tore their ACLs running to the bank to pay Mookie Betts $380 million over 10 years and a $65 million signing bonus. My dad always told me, you can always tell when somebody is lying. My question was, what do you mean by that, Dad? He says, when their lips are moving. Anytime the owners say anything about trying to cry wolf and anything like that, there's no reason to believe it, because the minute that baseball is out there, all they talked about was, whoo, I'm glad we got our sport back. We owe it to ourselves. We owe it to the fans. Owners need to do the best thing, and sometimes silence is golden, because every time it seems that a lot of owners open their mouth, they put their foot right in it, and they only wind up not only harming themselves, but also harming their sport when it comes to Major League Baseball.
Freddie, now a two-parter here. What did you make of the owners and players arguing over money during a time of global pandemic? And do you think we'll get to a point where, say, stadium prices kind of implode and come back down, so normal people, that average family of four, can afford to go back to all the different stadiums?
Well, I don't think that's going to be the case when it comes to prices, because there's still too many people out there that can't wait to go to a game. And every owner in every sport knows that the minute that we allow, or that fans are allowed back into stadiums and arenas, there's going to be a long line of people that want to do that. I guarantee you right now, if you told any Major League Baseball owner, if you could allow a half capacity of fans in their stadium, they would not have to worry about people showing up, because plenty of people want to do that. So I don't think we're going to ever see to a point, other than specials here and there, that the prices are going to go down. But here's the problem that I had with the baseball owners and the players in the case of billionaires versus millionaires. They weren't doing themselves any favors by having that played out in a public forum. And I clearly understand that if you're an owner, you want to make sure that you get the best of the players. If you're the players organization, the players association, you want to make sure you're not going to continue to take advantage by the owners. But with everything that was going on, with people being furloughed and losing their jobs and restaurants and other businesses going on under, the last thing that people wanted to hear was from an entity that made $10 billion last year. Let me say that out loud again. Major League Baseball as a league made $10 billion. People do not want to hear you guys having a nickel and dime argument over billions of dollars with so many people worried about their health and also worried about their financial health. They are very, very lucky that 4 million people tuned in to see Yankees Nationals and close to 3 million people tuned in to see Giants versus Dodgers last night. Because plenty of people are going to say, hey, guys, forget you guys. But because we're so starved for live sports, and also the Yankees on one side, the Dodgers on the other side, and the Nationals defending champions in that mix, people are not going to just completely turn away. Major League Baseball should thank their lucky stars that they got a head start for anybody else when it comes to live sports happening once again in 2020.
So, Freddie, I have to ask, because this story broke. I think it broke today. So, what do you make of the Blue Jays having to play in their AAA affiliate stadium in Buffalo? And is this going to be a problem as we deal with more COVID cases?
I'll add, Nick. I'll add after they were already. I'm sorry, Freddie. I'll add after they already rejected Buffalo like earlier this week, and now all of a sudden they're here.
Well, put it this way. I'm just glad the Blue Jays aren't homeless anymore, because it looked like they're going to play all 60 games on the road. And I compared them to Forrest Gump getting on the bus when he was a kid, where so many places said, seats taken, you can't sit here. But Buffalo is now the Jenny, where they said, you can play here if you want to, if you're the Toronto Blue Jays. So they should be very thankful that there's a building in place and that certain standards are going to be met to make sure that that's going to happen. And we don't know if it's going to happen in late July or in August. And I guarantee you, Major League Baseball tried to do everything they could to try to make this happen. But when government restrictions are going to be there, it really limited exactly how the Toronto Blue Jays are going to find a place to play. Toronto should be very thankful that New York has really been ahead of the COVID-19 scare, and they, along the state of Connecticut, they've been able to not just flatten the curve, but level the curve depending on where you are. So the fact that Toronto is not going to be a homeless team, that they're going to play all 60 games on the road, that would have been an extremely, extremely bad look for Major League Baseball, even though we clearly understand why that decision is going to be made at those times. So I'm glad they're going to find a way to make this work. The AAA club plays in Buffalo. You can have the same situation that we see each and every year when they have the Little League World Series in Williamsport and have the Major League Baseball players playing the minor league stadium in that city of Williamsport, Pennsylvania. You can find out exactly how they made that work in a minor league stadium, make that work with the Buffalo stadium for the Toronto Blue Jays, and then everybody's going to be happy that the Toronto Blue Jays are not going to be a homeless team in 2020.
So what do you make of the Washington football team nonsense? Because with all this going on with well, I guess you can't really call them the Redskins anymore. I call them the wild card team at this point because we don't know what to call them. So is it better to have a name? We actually spoke to Martin McCauley, who owns the trademarks for all the different teams, and we discussed this whole situation. He said he would give the trademarks back. What's your whole stance on the Washington football team?
Well, I get that people exercise that they have not been able to find a team name, but I'll put it into this kind of perspective. They have a lot more serious problems going on than not having a football team name for 2020. I mean, that Washington Post report that came out last week, that has such damning evidence that nobody refuted, nobody denied from the Washington Football Organization. So that told me all I needed to know about how true that was with that Washington Post report. So, yeah, it would be great if they had a name for 2020. But based on what they're trying to do to change the culture and make sure they don't have any kind of repeat performance for 1 year that happened over a 13-year period, and that's something that Ron Rivera is determined to fix because he's been given the keys to the kingdom to do that by Dan Snyder, the owner. Not having a football team name in 2020, that is very, very low on the pole of problems when it comes to Washington. So I understand that if anything, it gives Redskins fans who wanted the Redskins name to not go away, it gives them more incentive that if Redskins are the team is going to allow fans in the stadium to parade their team's former name around. You know what? That's the least of the problems when it comes to Washington. You got to start thinking about how can we be a better football team on the football field and a better organization off the field. Not having a team name in 2020, to me, that's a speed bump compared to what they have to deal with no matter what's going on in the football field when it comes to not having a team name.
Talking with Freddie Coleman of ESPN Radio. And Freddie, I'll follow up with this question. Do you think that the fans, some of the media, the influencers, and the sponsors, do you think they would have understood if Dan Snyder had said, "Hey, you know what? It's what, July, the 2020 season. They're wanting to start on time, so it's September's coming up. We have to get a new logo. Look at potential jersey changes, potential color scheme changes. We maybe want fans involved in some of this process. Hey, we need to do one more season of Redskins in 2020 just because it's just so short of time." Do you think people would have understood if that were the case?
People might have understood if Dan Snyder was not the owner, because he's not exactly well liked outside of National Football League owners' offices. And that's why he had to get away from that name, because if you're going to have a complete break of what the culture has been for your organization, and as polarizing as that Redskins team name was, to keep it just for one more season as a last hurrah, that would have provided a distraction. It would have been the last thing that organization would have needed. That's the last thing you need to put on the plate of your new head coach, Ron Rivera, where he's trying to get from underneath so many things that have been damaging to the culture of Washington, and then you keep this on for one more year. So I'm sure there are plenty of fans that did not want the nickname to go away that would have loved for that to happen. But in terms of the aftermath and the after effects, I think he did the complete right thing by saying, hey, we'll wait until next year to have an official name, but we're not going to bring that Redskins team name back. Especially he told people, we're going to get away from this. You can't just bring it back for one more year just because you were unable to find the rights to have a team name to really get this whole new direction started for Washington when it comes to the 2020 season.
So, Freddie, as ridiculous as it may seem that the NFL owners are banking that that the NFL season is going to be held in full and on time, do you really think that's feasible, considering that the state the country is in terms of where we are in the outbreak right now?
The NFL firmly believes, and they know this to be true, that if you bring the NFL back, there's not going to be a lot of objection. And any objection that's going to be there with the NFL starting on time is going to be drowned out by so many people that want the NFL, especially when we don't know what kind of college football season that we're going to have, what kind of high school football season we're going to have, depending on what state that people live in. The NFL clearly understands their place when it comes to this, because they know they're still the biggest, baddest boy in the jungle when it comes to professional sports in this country. There's so much money that is going to be made on the NFL when it comes to advertisers and sponsors, when it comes to gambling, when it comes to fantasy football. The NFL clearly understands their power. That's why you don't have too many players outside a couple here and there speaking out by saying we can't have a season. Now, we heard a couple of NBA players say something like that, but they still are going to have an NBA season because they got drowned out. NFL players want to play. They all said that last week. Even J.J. Watt in his tweet, where he started his tweet saying we want to play, then lists exactly what he needed to see, then ended his tweet by saying we want to play. Everybody wants the NFL out there. NFL fans want it, casual fans want it, but more importantly, the players want it. So, yeah, it's definitely a tough time when it comes to COVID-19 and economic conditions. But the NFL, right now, they know that if we're back, everybody's going to feel so much better, especially with so much money that they're still going to lose, because nobody's going to make money in any sport this year. But they stand to have the least to lose because so many people want it, and there's still so much money that can be made off the NFL and by the NFL, no matter where the fans are going to be in the stands or not, or what kind of capacity of fans are going to be in certain stadiums, no matter how that's going to break down.
All right, so this next question, as we all know, being sports fans, being a fanatic. So now I can say I'm the disgruntled Jets fan in this group. So
He's the only one.
So Woody Johnson, obviously the news comes out. We see the alleged situation with him and being the owner of the Jets. It seems like the NFL doesn't do what it needs to do sometimes with certain owners, or I can almost compare it to Donald Sterling with the Clippers and the cultural change you were talking about earlier. What can you make sense of this Woody Johnson situation? What are your thoughts on that?
I've stopped trying to make sense of human beings a long time ago, guys, because people are capable of anything, and it did not even stun me. And I'm a Jets fan like you are, my friend, but for some godforsaken reason, it did not even stun me to hear that, because people are capable of seeing anything. And I think more than ever before, if you're going to have that mindset and you're going to make it verbal, you better be careful who you're saying that around, because somebody at a certain point is going to come back and say, that person over there is not who he or she is cracked up to be. Look at what I mentioned with Washington for 13 years. And people said, well, Dan Snyder was not named in that report. You can't tell me he did not hear whispers of what was going on. And when you have Mark Cuban, the Dallas Mavericks owner, telling Dan Snyder, You got to own up to your mistakes. That was a very clear message from him. Same thing goes with Woody Johnson. Now he can say he can categorically deny that this did not happen. These things not come out of his mouth. He better be very careful by putting that kind of statement out there, because what if there's somebody else who has proof that he said something like this? Now, I know he is minimal when it comes to day-to-day operations, when it comes to the New York Jets, but he still represents a football team in the National Football League. And how many times we heard from Roger Goodell, the commissioner, that you have to protect the shield? You can't just throw that at the players of the National Football League. You have to throw that at everybody that's employed by a National Football League team or that owns a National Football League team. So I can't wait to see exactly what kind of investigation is going to happen, because there should be an investigation, because this guy is an owner, one of the owners in the National Football League. And if anything, they should definitely be held to a much higher standard than the players that they throw this shield standard at, that they use time and time again to make sure that players are going to have to be on the straight and narrow.
Yep.
Now, Tom, I just have one more question I want to follow up with here.
Yeah.
What were your opinions, Freddie, on the Emily Applegate comments across all the networks? What did you think of those?
Well, Emily Applegate, I mean, I give her a lot of credit, because that could not have been easy for her to come out there, where she was the only one that put her name on record, because most of the other women decided they could not do that because of the NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, and they probably didn't want to have to relive that all over again. So the fact that Emily Applegate was willing to put herself out there, I'm not going to say that she was better than anybody else, because I can't even imagine being in that situation, knowing that you're going to get some kind of blowback from people that may be calling you names and saying, what are you doing? And you're a liar. She was steadfast and she stood her ground. So I give her a lot of credit. And here's the deal. She put those statements out there. We have not heard anybody from Dan Snyder's camp or people that worked for him that said she was lying. That told me all I need to know. So I would hate to think that they're working on the defense and it's taking this long for them to do that. But then again, with Dan Snyder watching them, who knows with them what kind of defense they may come up with. But the fact that they have not said anything to say that she's lying tells me all I need to know about the strength of Emily Applegate and what she said about what was going on with the Washington Redskins.
All right, Freddie, one last thing from me. Little different note, kind of out of left field kind of note. So we also had the news yesterday that Mike Tyson, at 50-something years old, is going to make a
54.
comeback.
54. Yeah.
Yes. He's going to fight Roy Jones Jr. September 12th. Their combined age is like 104. And it's an exhibition. They're both legends of the sport, but is this really a good idea?
You know what? Here's the sad part, that there are going to be plenty of us that are going to watch. Why? Because it's Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
This is going to be a terrible idea that's going to make a lot of money for Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. and anybody promoting the fight. I mean, believe me, I still play pickup basketball and I'm 54 years of age. But the last thing I'm going to do is think I can charge people to have me play against a 51-year-old in a one-on-one game, because that's not going to be good basketball at all. And this is not going to be good boxing. But it's not going to be good boxing. I mean, the last thing we want to see is a Mike Tyson, even though he says that hand speed, and a Roy Jones Jr. trying to fight for the title of who's the best 50-year-old fighter. But here's the sad part. We're going to pay attention. People are going to have that on pay-per-view, and they're going to pay to see exactly, because when you're a big name, and people seem to forget how large Mike Tyson was in this country. Until Michael Jordan really got started at the Chicago Bulls, he was the best and most known athlete in the world, and it was not even close when he was doing his thing in the late 80s and early 90s. So I clearly understand that last hurrah mindset that he has, but man, oh man, seeing two 50-year-old dudes in a ring fighting without headgear, without Geritol as a primary sponsor, it's going to be a raggedy fight, but it's going to be a raggedy fight that plenty of us are going to pony up and pay and watch when it comes to that on September 12th.
Absolutely.
I think it's more of an indictment on us than it is on them.
Absolutely. You know, we're sheeps being led into the pen. There's no doubt about that. That's more about us than Mike Tyson. You're completely right on that one.
All right. Freddie Coleman of ESPN Radio, Freddie and Fitzsimmons, nationally across the country, 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern. Please listen. I've listened for many years. I've enjoyed listening to you over the years, and hopefully we can talk again another time.
I would love to do it. I love have fun with you guys and hang out with you guys. Man, it's always a blast having a chance to chop it up with you guys. So always appreciate you guys. You guys be well, continue the success, okay?
Absolutely. Freddie, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure, guys. Take care and God bless.